for the new wells, part of it's just maintenance that we need to be doing anyhow, correct?
So I can give it till Wednesday. Afternoon. That work?
Plenty of time.
All right. Move next to miscellaneous business. So updates on the water project. Got a little bit here today. I wanted more information as pertained to various options. So I was looking, just like Mr. Watson was just saying, some of this is built in that we're going to have to do no matter where we get our water from. We've got maintenance on the Hilltop Tank on Dayton Road, the Deer Creek Tank by Anderson's, Armour Road Booster Station, another Armour Road Booster Station so that we can take the other one offline, Prince William Loop Main to help get water up the South Hill. Those are all costs that pretty much no matter where we get our source water, these are things that are going to have to be done. So I was looking, I think it's about 4.5 to 5 million, the cost for well 7, aeration, ground storage tank at Carrollton Road, connecting well 3 to well 5, at somewhere between 4.5 and 5 million for that. So I was trying to look and compare it to other ways that we could get source water. Greensburg, Indiana, they submitted a PER last year for SRF for a surface water treatment plant. It was $15 million for that surface water treatment plant. Now it was 6 million gallons a day. So I wasn't sure what their treatment capacity was. I emailed their superintendent, and he was in favor of groundwater. He said groundwater is more consistent, cheaper, and overall quality is better than compared to surface water. I would love to have all groundwater here, but it simply isn't available. One of the main drawbacks with surface water is the disinfectant byproducts, but keep in mind that is just one reason. That was what I could find. I didn't do a complete listing of every surface water treatment plant within the state of Indiana. I can do more searching for it to see if there's one that's more closer to what our treatment needs would be. But even scaled down, if we did a 3 MGD, assuming it's the same rate, it'd be 7.5 million, just based on the ratios.
And that's not operation cost, that's just building cost?
That was their construction cost. That wasn't soft cost like engineering, bond council. They had a separate line for that.
Operators,
Right.
running it, maintenance.
But it's also 6 MGD, so it's 4 times more than what we have currently and twice as much as we may need in the future. Look back to well 3 to well 5 connection and well 3 to well 1. One of them we received bids on, one of them we awarded the contract on. The cost per lineal foot on that for well 3 to well 1 was $192 per lineal foot. For 3 to 5, it was $245 per lineal foot. That's materials and labor. So I looked, if we were going to come from Flora, from the northern end of Florida to the southern edge of Delphi, if you went 75 to 100 north to 421, it's approximately 7 1/3 miles. So if you multiply that times 5280 times, even if we're being $100, $150 would be low compared to what we've seen in the past, exceeds the 4.5 or 5 million that we have for surface water. Reached out to Lafayette. Their water system stops at 25 and 52. They have a project planned for next year to bring a water main closer to I-65. And then in their 6 to 20 year plan, they have a well field going out at the old Aritz Airport site. So that'll be the closest site to us. But it's approximately, as the crow flies, I think about 12 miles from Aritz Airport to the city of Delphi. And then the Tage River cost just by itself for wells out there, water treatment for iron and manganese, pipe, and then ground storage at Carrollton Road. I think that was roughly $11.25 million. Julian, you talked about how interest rates could change with SRF funding. So I revised preliminary funding analysis. This one hasn't been reviewed by UMBAL, the second version, but I've included if the SRF was 2%, 3%, or 4% interest. So under the 2%, it had rates going up 140%. Under 3%, it had them going up by 151%. And under 4%, it had them going up 162%. I want to run those by UMBAL first, and I'll email you a copy, but I wanted to get them out there tonight. So trying to compile rates from Camden, Florida, Brooks, and Attica. I've got their ordinances. However, their ordinances are in gallons, so it's for every 1,000 gallons that's used, it's a certain number. It's an easy conversion until you get down to minimum charges, because.
If you'd like some help, I'd be happy to.
All right.
Yeah. That's right.
It'd be nice if everybody was just in cubic feet, but they're not. And then, yeah, we're looking the week of June 25th. I'm still waiting to hear back from Peerless Midwest about their availability for another water meeting.
You know, I was just curious, Mayor, back in 2008, you gave some numbers there, I didn't write it down in time, about the maintenance that needs to be done to different water towers and everything. I believe in 2008, Randy brought that to our attention, and we spent a lot. I just wonder what since this water issue's been kicked down the road for 20, 30 years now, I just wonder what the difference is from 2008, what that cost was for maintenance and redoing the water tanks and stuff today. The numbers you're getting now, just sort of where you kick it down. Now, what are we looking? I bet it was, I bet there's $1 million to half of
Probably.
more cost
Yeah.
now in 10
It-
years.
Probably half or less,
In 10 years.
what it's gonna cost us now.
Yeah, I believe so.
Lieutenant Myers, if you have 2008 cost estimate somewhere.
Well, I know. I mean, I don't want the numbers, they're
No.
probably in the minutes back from back in then, but I'm just saying, I'm sure that, I think we had a conversation earlier with the superintendent back there that I was talking to some people on how many mayors have actually just kept drilling holes and kicking this, and we haven't solved it. Eventually, when are we gonna get caught? And it's not gonna be there. We gotta figure it out. It's gonna be some rough decisions, but we gotta figure it out.
They give you a good quote on that. When I worked at the courthouse with my wife, I attended a meeting with the commissioners, talking about a bridge. Cost $150,000 to do the bridge. So they said, well, we'll postpone it next year and we'll do it on out of next year's budget. Next year's budget was $250,000 to do the same bridge. Now, I know that to be a fact, because I can take you and show you where the bridge is at, but, and it's not too far from right where we're sitting. But the thing is that no matter how long or how soon we do this, it's gonna cost us money. And personally, I'm like, Brian, if we're gonna do it right. Let's get it right the first time. So we don't have, I'm not sitting in this seat 5 years from now, the guy who's sitting in this seat 5 years from now don't have to go through the same thing again.
Amen.
Because we don't want us to keep kicking it down the road. That's just my thoughts.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there anything further on the water project we'd like to discuss?
Just that date's tentative right now.
Yeah, I've got the week of 25th, so,
Week is the 25th.
yeah.
Uh,
Right now, we're looking at the 27th, there's an APC meeting, 26th. So, looking at, trying to get people's schedules together, but see if the 27th would work.
27th. Okay.
Next item I have is council comments and requests. President Pro Tem Pearson.
I just,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know at the last meeting, Leanne had an issue about the grant out in Fort. Did you get that resolved?
Kind of, yeah. We had a meeting and I got a list. Well, Shane the next day said he had a list of donors, so he brought that to me. I think it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, I got a list of donors. But we've got some problems matching it up on it. We got the check on Friday. Friday afternoon about 4 o'clock, so we were in bed about the funds. So as soon as we get that resolved with the donors.
Well, I think I'm going down the road.
Good night, sir.
Councilman Trigger?
Yeah, I got someone called about the community center, the weeds and everything's high around there.
That's on us now that the lease is executed.
Well, I'm just saying, I went over there today, and the weeds are pretty high.
Councilman Shockley?
There's a house next to me, Traeger shoe is that.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you now. 219 North Union. Needs to be taken care of. Add that to the others that I give you if you want.
Yeah, they should have received a letter Friday, June 1st, or one was sent out Friday, June 1st. So they'll have 10 days from that.
219. North.
Yeah, they, just 2 houses north of Mr. Traeger. Yeah, they got, one was sent out Friday.
Yeah, right there next to the truck.
Mhm.
Yeah. That needs mowed.
Yeah.
It's up about that tall.
We will check again June 11th, because they've got 10 days from the
Okay.
There's a note on the door,
Very good.
presume it's abandoned. I just note on the front door, presume it's abandoned.
Still have to give them to
It's a
Lily.
shame, it's a nice house, or I think it could be.
Very good.
Councilman Seward?
Since the time I've been here, and I've heard that prior to that also, there's been no budget for the water department. Will there be one this year?
Probably not. Be easier to make one for calendar year 2019. A lot of it will depend on what road work is done, because we like to get in and do some of the water projects before the road projects. So it probably couldn't be finalized until after we hear back from Community Crossings in October, November.
Why don't we budget the water department?
Was that?
User fees. We don't work on tax money.
Right. But how to, you know, you're asking us to make decisions on water situations. We don't have any notification of incomes, we don't have any notification of expenditures or anything like that. Some of this stuff should have been and could have been being paid out of the water fund over the last several years, could it not?
I believe when Mr. Julian's gone. Out of the $1 million that we receive in, 650,000 of that goes to operation and maintenance. I've got them here. 290,000 of that goes to debt service, I believe, money. Yeah, leaving about $75,000 for capital improvements each year.
One thing I don't understand, in the March 28th comment after the March 20th meeting, it had figures that you were quoted as supplying, and it said, if I'm not mistaken, that the water department is running at a $600,000 deficiency every year, or at least the last year or so. How is that possible? Huh?
Are you pointing at me?
Yeah, it quoted you.
You're running an efficiency because, and it's not the last 6 years, I don't know where you're getting that. Although, when did we start Stellar? When did we start on-
Well,
So there's your big thing. If you remember back when we started Stellar, we were gonna do all the downtown water improvements, and it was gonna come out of Stellar. It was gonna be grant money. Did you not hear that at the time?
I've heard that.
Because that's what we were told. It's all gonna come out of grant money. None of it came out of grant money. We ended up with a water exchange program that cost us heavily. That water exchange program, I think, cost our water department $450,000 is what
Somewhere
we
around
paid,
there.
we paid out. So all your water improvements that was done, that you expected to be done, and the town expected to be done in order to provide the water service, which would provide them the fire prevention that they needed for the buildings that we were doing, came out of Water's department. It didn't mean he was working on a deficit because he was spending money poorly. It meant he was working on a deficit because he was spending money he did not have in the first place. So he crimped back on other stuff in order to pay for that. Had you had the Stellar funds, had you had the grant, the water department would have never been a problem. When I came here and first started working for the city, the water department had extremely good account. The water department had extra funds. The wastewater department struggled. I said all along, when we do our rate studies, and I'm sorry Mr. Julian's gone, because Mr. Julian would tell you I've complained to him. When we do our rate studies, we're doing something wrong. Because then in 2013, when we did bonds again, suddenly Dick in the wastewater, we're now rich. And not rich because we could wipe him out quickly with the project. What I'm saying to you is his income has now come in and he's sitting in a much better place and Craig's in a worse. And at the same time, you dumped, we dumped, the city dumped on Craig in order to do the Stellar project. We dumped on Craig the responsibility to put all those projects in so they could function.
So where'd the money go?
What do you mean?
The money we were supposed to get the grant. Why didn't we get the grant?
You didn't get it because we took that money and obligated it for other things.
Like for what?
Well, and some of it was,
NDOT pulled out a big chunk of it.
NDOT pulled out of a small part. Some of it was our positioning and what we ended up doing. And there are other places you could have picked up grant money too. That was, part of that was our choice. Part of it was NDOT, but part of that was our choice. So
So the council wasn't good stewards of their money when they took water money and spent it for other purposes.
he didn't take water money and spend it for other purposes. When I'm telling you that Craig, gee, where do I not say what I'm thinking?
No, you got somebody dense here.
No. When I'm telling you, Craig, any money Craig spent on your downtown, Craig spent on water improvements.
I understand it, but the grant you said we didn't get, we should have got. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what originally, all water and wastewater projects that was going to be done downtown was going to be done through the Stellar grant.
And that's why I asked, why didn't we get that?
Well, I'll go back and I'll repeat it 3 more times. NDOT says part of it they pulled back. The rest of it, we took money and reorganized it for different grants. We went in different directions.
Within the water department though,
No,
for other purposes.
correct.
And so I said you took the grant money, should have went to the water department, used for other purposes. That's why it's for this entire grant.
Some of it.
And I'd sure like to know those figures.
I don't know that I can ever even go back and recreate those figures for you.
I remember it happening, I was at the meeting when it happened. Didn't understand it.
But that's not because of poor spending on Craig's.
No, he just didn't have the money to spend, and he had to do it anyhow.
But he had the obligation in order to make the Stellar projects work and in order to improve your downtown. Why would you go ahead and improve your whole downtown and then ask Craig to come back later on and tear up your downtown, putting his water line there? That's, wastewater had to do a bunch of improvements too that had to come out of theirs too.
The money wasn't wasted. We did end
Oh
up
my
with
God,
a lot
no.
of good things.
Yes. Absolutely. Because there again, a lot of those projects that both Dick and Craig really spent and did downtown have been put off for how long? How long? So you can't keep going like that.
I think that's enough.
Nothing, thank you. Public comment? Yes, ma'am.
You passed the short-term rentals on 1 reading, right?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that correct? You have 2 more?
Yes, ma'am.
Can they be operated before you pass it on the 3rd reading?
It's a dumb question.
Can they be operated before they pass it on the 3rd reading?
There's 2 that are basically operating illegally right now because it's not allowed use in the ordinance, under the ordinance.
So yes or no, are they operating illegally or give me the definitive answer?
Yes, they are
They're operating
operating illegally at this
So what do you
point.
do about that? So what do you do about that?
They can be sent a letter and stuff until final action's taken on the ordinance. More than likely, no fines would be issued unless the plan commission directs otherwise.
So are you gonna do that?
I can send letters, yes.
Thank you.
What's that?
So, who makes that determination?
Area Plan Commission is the administration of the zoning ordinance. Other public comment? Hearing none, there's one last motion to be made.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Sorry.
That's all it has.
All those in favor? Opposed? It is 9 o'clock on the dot. I do.